We all get that feeling, that feeling of home, like
Yeah.
that sense of belonging and comfort and connection.
Mm.
But what happens when you leave home? Spend years away and then finally come back.
Mm.
That's what we're going to be looking at today in this deep dive. It's about a story of homecoming from some sources that you shared with us.
Right.
They tell the story of Waswa. He's a man returning to his village, Olwanda, after 4 harvest seasons. So roughly 4 years away.
Yeah, what I think is really interesting about these sources is they don't just describe the physical journey. They really look into the emotional side of homecoming. It's not just about like traveling the distance, but it's more about bridging that gap between who Waswa was when he left and then who he's become after spending time away.
Exactly. And the sources really throw you right in there with the community's role in this journey. 2 villagers are picked to go with Waswa, and the chief gives them donkeys. With all these provisions, it's like the whole village is making sure that he gets home safe. This really stood out to me, that collective effort, that shared responsibility.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And this like communal aspect is super ingrained in a lot of African cultures. The well-being of one person is connected to everyone else. It's kind of like how we understand social support networks now and their impact on people being resilient.
It is interesting how those old practices connect with psychology today. And then there's this really powerful moment with Nambu. She's like the village mother. She gives Waswa this basket. It's overflowing with food and blessings. And she says to him, "You carry the hopes of 2 villages." I mean, the weight of that statement.
Yeah, it really shows how important they think Waswa's journey is. He's not just going home. He's carrying the hopes and dreams of his community. It makes you think, what were those 4 harvest seasons away all about? Was he looking for knowledge? Opportunity? Or was he even running from something? The sources don't really say for sure.
Ooh, good point. The mystery just gets bigger. But we know that he sets off. And the sources paint this incredibly vivid picture of the African landscape. Whispering trees, birds singing, wildflowers, fragrant wildflowers. It's like you can smell the earth and feel the sun on your skin just reading it.
And it's not even just what you see. The sources talk about how Waswa's steps match the rhythm of the land. It's like this deep connection to his homeland. Every step brings him closer to himself, to his roots.
And at night, they camp under this huge baobab tree. That's a pretty big symbol in African culture.
Exactly. The baobab represents, living a long time wisdom. And it's like a meeting place for generations, almost like a living library of history, connecting the past, present, and future. Imagine Waswa just sitting there under its branches, looking up at the stars, those same stars that his ancestors used to guide them. It's a powerful image of continuity and belonging.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really makes you think about those places that are important to us, those places that have like a deeper meaning, And as Waswa keeps going, the anticipation builds. His heart's pounding like a drumbeat of homecoming.
And it makes you wonder, like, what's he feeling? Is it just pure joy to see his family again? Or is there some worry, too? Maybe he's afraid of how they'll react to him. Or if he'll still fit in after being gone so long. The sources kind of leave that up to us.
Oh, that's a really good point. It adds a whole other level to his journey. This like internal struggle on top of everything else going on. And then he finally gets there. He steps into Olwanda, and there they are, his parents waiting under the same old tree where he started his journey.
That image of the tree is powerful. It represents being rooted and staying connected through time. Like it's seen all the generations come and go. It shows that Waswa isn't just coming back to a place, but to a legacy, to all the stories of his ancestors.
It's amazing, that feeling of coming full circle, of getting back to the source of who you are. And the sources say that the whole village celebrates. His return isn't just his victory, it's everyone's, like a sign of their strength together.
Absolutely. It reminds us how important community is. Those shared experiences and all the support you get from each other. And it makes you think about how that's still true today, even with how globalized and connected the world is, where home can mean so many different things.
It makes me wonder about how Waswa's time in Habao will change Olwanda. Did he learn new skills or knowledge or ways of thinking that he can bring back to his community?
That's a big question the sources want us to think about. Maybe he picked up some new farming techniques or saw different ways of dealing with arguments. It's by sharing those ideas that people and communities can grow and change.
Yeah, it's like a back and forth thing. He went out, explored, learned new things, and now he brings it all back to help his community.
It really shows how personal growth and community progress are connected. And this brings up something interesting. Even if we haven't physically journeyed away and back like Waswa, we all have moments of homecoming in our lives.
Yeah, you mean those times when we reconnect with a part of ourselves that we forgot about, like going back to a place from your childhood or reconnecting with an old friend.
Exactly. It's about finding those things that ground us, that remind us of who we really are. And those moments can be really powerful and they can spark creativity and make us more resilient.
It's like they reawaken that feeling of belonging, that feeling of being right where you're supposed to be, even if home isn't a physical place, but more like a collection of experiences, memories, and connections that we carry inside us.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And those internal connections can be just as strong, if not stronger, than the ties we have to a physical place. They shape our values, how we see the world, and in the end, our sense of purpose.
So thinking back on Waswa's journey and all these different ideas about home, what's the most important thing for our listeners to take away from this today?
Maybe it's a reminder that home isn't just a place to get to, but an ongoing journey of self-discovery and connection. Whether it's exploring where we come from, nurturing our relationships, or just taking the time to appreciate the places and experiences that make us who we are.
That's a great way to put it. Waswa's story has given us so much to think about. The importance of community, the power of returning home, and the many different meanings of home.
Yeah, it really has. And I hope this deep dive encourages our listeners to keep exploring these ideas. What does home mean to you? What are those threads that tie you to your past and guide you towards your future?
What a great question to leave our listeners with. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Waswa's journey. Until next time, keep searching, keep exploring, and keep discovering the many layers of home that exist within each of us.